my journal every so often. It's definitely a big one. Oh, the next one. Help the human race evolve.
Help the human race evolve.
How will I do that?
You tell me.
Oh, simply I see that by that's where I got that instinct from. Because
Mhm.
that was kind of me. It's like, oh, what do I enjoy? Doing something fun in the moment without thinking about it. And like, how does that help you evolve? Because essentially by doing that, you're using your heart, being creatively, and then being creative helps people evolve.
Yeah.
Simple.
Simple logic.
Yeah, simple. 6. How will I do that? Being creative and living with that warm winning feeling in abundance. But really, all that comes back to simply in the moment. All you can do is just
What?
look after yourself. No, but that is such a big one. It's actually really interesting, like, because you wrote one down about it as well.
What?
Looking after yourself. What was your one?
Help. Oh, no, sorry. I'll be the absolute best of myself.
Yeah. What does that mean?
I don't know. I just think of it like when I get to an age and you can't do certain things. I'm like, what? Why? Like, I don't want to look back and be like, oh, I don't know, like I had more in me, sort of thing. Like, whether that's physique or something. It's
Mhm.
sort of like what you did. Like, I don't know. I feel like when people say, I feel like it's bullshit when people say like genetics and like, yeah, I guess you can say in some situations genetics have an advantage for some people more than others, but I feel like the end goal, it doesn't matter who you really are. Like, I reckon anyone can get there, and I think putting a limit and saying, oh no, it's genetics, or it's just an excuse. Like, it's an excuse. I mean, genetics, yeah, people are different in size and stuff, but it's like if your end goal is to win a race or something, like, you know, I don't think genetics actually comes into play. But the way you train it would, maybe, but to get the result, I don't reckon. That's what I reckon. I think it's stupid. I mean, people put people down by saying it. I don't know, I feel like this generation's just pretty soft.
Oh,
It's different.
honestly, I'd say even like more, not even that, but it's like, no, it's not even that, literally. It's just people like there's just too many temptations for people. And
Yeah.
it's just, I also do think shitty parenting brings it into play.
Yeah, I agree. Parenting definitely has an impact on like your surroundings and environments.
Because like, what do you think an adult is? My definition of an adult is someone who is calm, centered, and whenever a situation arrives, thinks about it, assesses it, and then acts in a calm, centered way to respond to it. Not someone who just acts emotionally and lashes out.
But I think it's different in the way that an adult is just how you've matured through your life, and
Yeah.
that might be you haven't matured in a way of a lot of older people, like adults, get aggressive and act like children, like it's pathetic.
Yeah, no,
And
that's
I
why the
reckon
problem
now,
is.
yeah, now there's more of it.
That's the problem. It's because people just have their like stuff they haven't dealt with.
Yeah. Well,
But it's like
isn't
every
that, though? It's like,
no, that's why people lash out though, because usually there's like some like hidden insecurity or like past emotional pain that they haven't dealt with.
you're just fucking psycho.
No, but like there's something that leads up there. There's like a mishap, and like stored when you look into it, like the nervous system, like how trauma and stuff is released and how it
Yeah.
affects you.
I mean, like these days, you have this like bullshit of like people on social media posting things, and then people looking to be like, oh yeah, like either I've got that or that's me, or like it could be like a medical thing, and they're like, oh, I've got that, I should do this or that, or like do the wrong thing, and it's like,
Mm.
it's like for PTs and stuff, like and doctors, like if all the advice on the internet or whatever social media was true, then they'd be out of business within an instant. But it's not true. If anything, it's probably increased more because there's a lot of bullshit on it, and people end up having to go to doctors or PTs because they've done something wrong. And it's like,
No, it's just dumb people who don't know how to listen to their body. But yeah, I agree.
yeah,
Oh, do you want to actually try something I learned how to listen to your body?
you sure?
It's called the duck bill test.
The duck bill.
Yeah.
What do you do?
So you're meant to well essentially like I got learned is like it's how to listen to your soul or your gut, but technically like that the human species has evolved over the years through thousands of years of genomes,
Mm-hmm.
and it was to do it. You can use this for like other things, but more like for determining what you want to eat,
Yeah.
because it's like technically your body actually knows what it wants to eat. Like for example, when you're hungry and stuff. So it's called the duck bill test, and you do it like this. So go for example, because essentially like
Oh, it's just a lying thing.
yeah, you can't lie to yourself. I don't know if I've showed you this before,
Yeah.
but I'll try it again. It's real cool. So
Doesn't matter what fingers over what.
no. So you go like, am I Daniel Fleming? And you get a yes. Is a yes is like a yes is it can't touch, and a no is it does touch. So I'm Daniel Fleming.
I'm Alex Lawrenson. Am I done?
Okay, then Joe, I'm Daniel Fleming.
I'm Daniel Fleming. I'm Alex Lawrenson.
No, start from the top again. So go, I'm Daniel Fleming,
I'm Daniel Fleming. And then what am I doing?
and then squeeze.
So, am I pushing against?
Yeah, so you're literally you're just pushing down gently with this hand.
Okay.
So go, dear body, am I Daniel Fleming or not? And then, dear body, am I Alex Lawrence or not? I get a weaker as well.
Dear body, am I Daniel Fleming? Am I Alex Lawrenson? Am I Christopher Stockley? It doesn't work. I don't get it. I just don't get it. I know there's probably.
No,
I
there
don't
is.
know.
I'll have to show it to you. I'll literally have to show you where I learned it from. Like, I literally have a tutorial video from it.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess you'd have to like talk through it.
I don't know, because like he literally just explained it to me like that, and I was like, oh sweet, and then I was like, I got it.
Maybe it's like I overthink it or something. I don't even know.
No, I think it's just like literally the more you kind of connect to your body, the easier it gets, kind of. Because like for example, like I reckon the next step up to that is like you can just go into your gut and be like, what am I craving? And then I close my eyes and visualize it, and it'll be like a pork or beef or something, and that's what I'm craving. Like it might come up with like sugar or chocolate or something.
What am I craving? I don't know.
What did you get?
Nothing really.
Just go, what food am I craving?
What food am I craving? It has come up with chocolate.
Yeah. No, that's probably like,
I am craving chocolate.
yeah. And then it's like, but yeah. No, that was it, you did it.
Thank you.
So like that's your, yeah, you did it. That's essentially what that's meant to do. Try it again, and then because like these are when I learned in that lifestyle questionnaire, it's like things you've asked people to help them before, and it's like if someone wants help with their like gut and eating, It's just because like usually eating and stuff. It's the same. There's so much like emotions that go into it.
Yeah.
Why people eat, and it's usually like so much more than like people, because people like have problems like binge eating food. There's like a problem behind that. Yeah, it's super interesting.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
It's not just like, oh look, I randomly eat 3 bars of chocolate every evening. It's like, no, there's like, have you a reason why you're doing that? It's like, when did you start doing that? And it's like, oh, my wife died.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, okay, maybe there's something going on here.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, no. Yeah. Definitely, those things start up from like events like
Or
that.
it's like, when did you start like drinking 10 beers every night? And it's like, oh, I started once like a little bit stressed out at work, and then everything started piling up.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe there's something else going on here. Anyway,
No, I mean like life's weird. I reckon it's like I don't know.
5 things I'd like to accomplish this year. I heard a cool thing the other day where it's like people overestimate what they want to accomplish in life, but underestimate what they want to accomplish in 10 years. No, but that's like with goal setting. Like people,
So they look too far ahead and not where they are now.
yeah, technically, because it's like you can actually accomplish so much in a year. It's just because like,
That's just the end goal you look for.
yeah,
But then it's like you forget about the things that make you get to it.
because like I'm finding out like you have a goal, but it's like uh, getting that goal is by showing up every single day. And like whether that showing up is like putting the work in, for example, in exercise or like sitting down and doing business or deep work, or it's like simply going for a walk. It's still
Well, I think what I've come to appreciate definitely more of now is that there are times when you do need like a bit of a few days or something to just sort of like what you call like recalibrate or just sort of
out in nature.
yeah whether that I don't know like whether that's a walk or just I don't know I think there's a lot of stresses in life and I think a lot of the things on social media and what other people say heighten it and it's stupid. I think it's really stupid when you have people trying to give advice when they got no clue what they're talking about
Yeah.
and they just think that they know everything and they're like yeah no fucking
Well, I reckon it's like so. Yeah, no, but like I think actually like nature naturally is like really calming, and like life is
it's like today's walk.
It's really simple.
Yeah. But then it's like you come back and it's just like,
You know, everything's buzzing,
yeah,
whirring,
yeah,
everyone's
yeah.
like working.
Yeah, it's like, oh shit.
It's like no, that's not really. But yeah, no, like when people give advice, it's like because I know I've noticed it's like when you give advice to someone, you're all you're doing really is just like sharing your problems and good things you've experienced. You know,
yeah,
it's
exactly.
everything your own. Like say like start telling you about like oh you should be eating properly. You know, like it could be like this might be exactly what I'm working on at the moment. Like that's why you tell them, and it's like you can tell. I reckon you can actually tell when someone shares something with you. They share advice. It's kind of like are they sharing from their own insecurities, or like do you look at them and they're like oh that person looks happy whole and healthy and is like from sharing from abundance, you know, not from their own insecurities and like problems.
Yeah, like you know, someone's like,
Yeah.
what's a good example? It's like what's a good example? Like you know, if someone's I don't know, like yeah, like happy and good and like full of joy and stuff, you know, but then in life you go through like rough patches and stuff, and it's like yeah, I don't know. I feel like you just got to be like, you know, you just talk to them and like listen, and then you just sort of like, oh yeah, like just you know, it's all good. Like I'm here, you know, like you're a good person. You're going through troubles at the moment, but you know, like I don't know. I don't even know. Like I've just sort of learned to just almost just quite independent and just not really, not in a bad way, but like I'm not really gonna like start. I've just started to not share things as much and keep more to myself because I feel like just exposing that it almost hurts you more because you're basically letting someone through a door, letting someone in to do, almost like alter that for you, and then it could just, it's like if you tell someone like a secret or something, and then they'll say something, or they might, whatever, and then you just sort of think of it differently, and you're like, if I never told them, I never would have thought differently of it.
Yeah, no,
Or if I never did something, then that, I'd never feel like this or that. Sort of like, I feel like a lot of it's your choices, and it's like, you choose to. There's something inside you that you don't even. It's almost like you can't even control or know of, and it's sort of just like when you sort of do it or say it or whatever, and then it's like, and you sort of, it's almost like a betrayal on yourself, and you feel shit because you sort of opened the door up, but it was like it's like you did wrong, and people hate to admit that they did wrong and take responsibility, so it makes you feel like crap, I guess. I feel like that's what I reckon. Like, I don't know, there's been things where I've been like, I've done, I might have looked through something and seen something I didn't like, or shared something, and someone else, a couple other people started to, bicker in and try basically, fix my life and my problems, and I was like, well, like, no, like, like, whatever the problem is, it's your problem, it's not theirs, and it's like, sort of when you let them in to do it.
I read something about. I completely understand you. I read something about that. Like, I know what you mean. I read something about that in that purple book
Yeah.
today.
Did you? That's
Yeah.
quite a coincidence. That's
What?
the other thing is like coincidences. Like the other day, right? Like my dad said something, and he's like, um, he's sort of like, oh, you have two choices on something, and I had no clue. There's no clear hints, no nothing that I knew what he was meaning by anything, and I was like, oh, is it to take Tess for a walk or do the lawns? Which it was, and he was shocked as I was, and I was like, oh shit. It was almost like I knew it, but it's um, like coincidences, I reckon, are a real cool thing.
Yeah. So that's what this one is about. So this one, all of this is I find really interesting because it's kind of like as I kind of read about it and started to notice it, it's like you kind of learn about the different dynamics of power that happen between interaction with people and kind of how they work.
Yeah.
So anyway, this one is about noticing coincidences.
That's funny.
That book is about noticing coincidences
Yeah.
and learning to kind of understand them and how that works. A little bit about that. It goes in more of that, and then it goes a bit into power lines.
Yeah.
And this one's simply about just kind of get out of like everything just simply back into your kind of moment of being.
Yeah, see, like that's like exactly what I've just been talking
Yeah.
about, what we've been talking about, and is that not a coincidence or not? It's a
Yeah.
coincidence of a coincidence. It's like I find that stuff. It's almost like, what is it like? They say you're on the same like energy lengths or wavelength or whatever.
Yeah, synchronicity.
Synchronicity, that's the word.
No vibration, is it? That's it. No, there's vibration.
Vibration.
Yeah,
Well,
and it's like you
synchronicity,
raise up
and you're
high.
in sync.
Yeah.
Daniel Fleming's new. I'd say it's a bit of a new business. Would you say? Been going for a wee while.
Yeah, so I'm working at the moment for it. So simply what InSync is, it is simply helping, well, I put it for young people, but it's simply helping young people achieve their goals, dreams, and passions in the healthiest way possible. That's simply what it is, and my goal for it.
That's awesome.
And then, but yeah, so what I started doing is I have my own coaching page, and then I also have a page for the InSync.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So that's what I'm doing that's new, because I only have that page at the moment, which is just InSync, but it's me and it.
Yeah.
And that's what my thought was the other day. It's like, it's not, I'm kind of like doing two different businesses here.
Yeah.
Like, I'm changing it so it's like, I have me, which is just my personal coaching, which is performance coaching, helping athletes achieve their goals.
Yeah.
But then InSync is much more than that, which is like, helping more, but then it's like with the podcast and like the ambassadors, and it's like people just achieving their dreams and like that's where they
Yeah, and that's see
you
that's
came in.
yeah that's something like what I want to do is it's sort of similar. It's not the same as you, but it's like yeah I've been keen on starting a business where it's sort of like helping people through well any stage in life, but I think one stage that's quite important is the transition from school to out of school, and like I think in athletes definitely it's sort of like you see it to go from a school grade to a national team or even a club team,
Yeah.
and it's so hard to do. And a lot of the kids actually drop off. For example, Marty Cup is a secondary school regatta for rowing, and 2,500 athletes. You go to nationals, which is the whole of New Zealand club, so that's everyone past, even including school kids, 500 athletes, 600. Like the amount that drop off, like 2,000. But like, obviously that's not, I guess, everyone, but it's still like a lot do drop off, and it's sort of like, well, why? And then I think looking into that further, and I think there's periods, these different periods in life of where people seem to struggle, and it's sort of like you get a bit disconnected, like you go a bit off the rails, and it's sort of not in the crazy way, but just like it's almost like you hit a jump, you go over a jump, and there's that gap in the middle, and then until you land back down, it's sort of like, oh well, like I was there, now I'm here. Like, what happened in between? Like, nothing. You just went over it, and people don't realize. I think in that moment, it's almost like you can actually. That's the most vital part of how you choose to transition or where that transition is. And it's sort of like you then choose the track. It's like, okay, do I stop what I'm doing, going this other way, or do I just actually discover and see what else I can do within what I'm doing? And that can be, I reckon, like anything in life. But it's sort of I reckon that transition from school to club, and a lot of people get a lot of, oh, I go to uni, but I'd say the majority of people would, well, not the majority, but definitely quite a few would drop out or change subjects or do something else. And it's like, you've sort of almost, you haven't wasted because it's experiencing something and doing something differently. And then you're like, okay, like that's all good. But it's sort of like if I had have known earlier sort of thing. And it's like, well, you can, but you just gotta, you do need, I reckon you do need a bit of guidance, and that can come from anyone because it's like, you take in what you take in, you take out what you take out, and then you ignore what you ignore, and it's like, what you want to take in, and it'll feel right and it'll sound right, so you'll be like, okay, like that's good advice, that's what I've been thinking about doing and what I want to do. And I think rather than someone being like, no, you got to go make money, go earn money, it doesn't matter if you do something you don't like, it's like, well, actually, it's like maybe you should, actually see where you could go with this. And it's like, you've got other things to do, but while you're young and you can still do it. And even like when you get older, it's like, you can still change things, or it doesn't matter. But that's what I want to do. I'm pretty keen on starting up something like that.
No, I agree. That's similar to what I want to do. Like,
Right, yeah.
Honestly, it's exactly the same thing. That's where I got my idea.
Okay.
It's not exactly the same. It's like I got my idea from. And like one way I've like thought of ways to like help do that, which is simply like get out of that. And one of them is like I want to do the like 3-day retreats.
Oh yeah.
For all young people, because there's no one doing anything like that.
That's true.
Like the spirit of adventure kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah.
But even that's like that's just like doing fun activities together. There's no like stuff there where it's like actually you could say self work on there. Like you don't really learn about yourself at all.
It's more like escaping for a few days.
It's like escaping for a few days, and there's no one there. Like there's not actually people there to help guide you either.
Yeah.
And it's like, for example, like even just like what we did this morning for like 3 whole days.
Yeah.
With people that help you guide you, and you do like certain like self-discovery thing, because I'm super interested in like everything to do with that, and then you bring the Western side as well.
Yes, and that's like, I reckon that's super cool because it's like, and even if you did that, like what we did today, it was pretty much half a day's worth. It's like, well, for me it'd be if I had an athlete, or if you had an athlete or something, you would bring him, say, do like a half day for a trek, get up early, go for the trek, half day, wherever, go in the bush, it's hard, it's tough, it's rugged, it's good, you're out there, and then you come back and you're like, okay, you're fresh, you're good, whatever like that. Now you can focus on like you're almost spending the rest of the day on that. It's sort of like if they're a sport or something, like what they're related to, or even if it's just physical fitness, it's like, okay, what do you want to achieve? It's like a good way to sort of start. I remember you saying that this morning. It's like, now I feel fresh and good, and I felt that. I felt limber and good and fresh, and I was like, I felt like I just had a really good sleep. Um, yeah, no, but yeah, I like that's a great idea to do. But it's sort of like, yeah, I reckon it's just these, I reckon just getting out there and in the run. Yeah, I mean, like, I feel like a lot of people say it's sort of like, you got to be careful and stuff like that, but it's like, I feel like it's sort of like,
No, I reckon to do with. Sorry, I interrupted, but
so you go.
the carefulness. I actually learned, like, I actually asked someone about this because I was like, but then it's like, the careful thing is like, it could be most of the people who like, usually like, people who say be careful are usually like the family or the people that care about you. And all they're saying that they're not saying out of a fear-based thing, it's just simply like because they care.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
And it's like, they're not actually saying like that, it's just like look after yourself essentially.
Yeah.
But like, you can look at it two different ways. That's kind of how I look at that because I was like, oh, like instead of thinking be careful, it's like don't go. It's actually just look after yourself,
Yeah,
But that's how I look at it now. But then
that's true.
that's simply, yeah.
Yeah, because I guess it's not like they're giving you advice or anything. They're just literally saying, look, like,
Just
make
look,
sure you do this and that, and it's not like, I mean, at the end of the day,
no,
they can't tell you what to do.
but no, they're simply just giving. They want you to
Yeah,
look after yourself, and they're giving the best advice they can to help you.
that's
Even
true.
though, like, the person who gives the advice you may not agree with it, but they're
Yeah,
still doing what they can to help.
yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's actually a really good way to look at it. I think a lot of people should take that on board, especially me. I know I get a bit sort of, I'm like, oh, well, fuck up, like,
Yeah, no, I know.
bugger off sort of thing.
Yeah,
Like, let me, I think it's like a let me do my thing. It's sort of like,
because like you. It's. I feel like that's just like a reaction like you
yeah,
may have had when you were younger,
yeah,
and it's like
totally.
really because that's what I found. But then it's like if someone who you don't care about or know says be careful, it's like they may be like saying it in a fear way, but most of the time it's not. They're like just it's in the faith way where they care about you,
Yeah,
and they're like, yeah, just do your thing basically.
yeah, exactly. I think that's completely agree with that. I think it's um yeah, it's almost like a communication thing. It's like as well, sort of like rather than getting snappy and stuff, being like, look, just like I know you care for me and stuff, but like if you just please. Mm. No, it's very, very, very wise words. That's um, but yeah, it's um, yeah.
Like say for business, what do you think the biggest asset would you bring to a business doing everything you do?
Just it's hard. I think a lot of people would say knowledge and experience,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that I wouldn't because it's like I think everyone's experience is different. Everyone experiences different things and has different knowledges and um, just different. Just everything. It's all different. Everyone's different, which is good because they can bring something different to the table. But then it's like sort of like you said, an asset. Like, what are you actually bringing? Like
Yeah.
knowledge and experience. Cool. You're telling us your story and stuff, but it's like you know,
How can you implement that?
yeah, I guess say someone who went to the Olympics, won a sporting gold medal, and did whatever. I think they tell everyone their story, and everyone's sort of like, okay, I'm going to go do what they do because that's how I'm going to go win an Olympic gold medal. They go do what they do, and then they don't get the medal, and they're just down about it. And it's like, I think what I wouldn't do is probably tell people about my life and my story, maybe about my life, but not how I got the Olympic gold if I were to win one. I think it would be like, um, it'd be more like you know, rather than making it very me based, make it very sort of you're almost sending them questions. So like, okay, like so say you did 12, well, say your 10 trainings a week, 5 days a week. I think go like okay, um, like trainings per week. Like if I just say I was talking to you and you're someone who's I guess a youngster growing up wanting to row. I've won an Olympic gold medal, and you've asked me the question of what was your training regimen like, and I'd be like, look, it was full on for me. Um, I was training a lot through the week, but I'm not. But that's not to say that you're to do that because that won't get you to winning an Olympic gold medal. I think it's about being straight up as well, and then
So you want to share your drive and your passion towards it.
I think so, yeah. And then I'll be like, look, it's the first thing you've got to do is write it down. I think a lot of guys, athletes do that, and that's
So
the
the
one
importance
thing.
of having a dream slash a goal.
Yeah, so I think that's the very first thing that anyone should ever do. I think the second thing that someone should do would be basically, I'd say after that, I'd be like, write down your dream, write down your goal, write down how you're going to get there, and then I'd be like, okay, now look at yourself. Like, what are your strengths? Like, what are you good at? What are you not good at? Like, where does it work? Where doesn't it work? Sort of thing. Like, I know for some people you can have a really good aerobic fitness capacity, but you can be really lacking in strength. And other people you have real good strength, and you'll be real lacking in.
So right now, what could you share with someone?
I don't think a lot. I don't think I would because it would make me feel like I've done something that I haven't. I think I'd just say, look,
So you're only basing it around winning or going to the Olympics as from what you share of.
Well, because that's you look at it. That is, I know you shouldn't look at it as just look.
But isn't that just like an end result? And what actually you'd be sharing is all the hard work and perseverance that took to get there.
You would, but that's not if you're trying to get someone to that point.
Yeah.
I think that's different if you're going to a pep talk and they're, say, people who are just wanting to know, about you and stuff. Yeah, you'd do that. But I think if you sat down and spoke to someone about how they're going to train and stuff, you wouldn't tell them to do it.
So you're at the stage kind of you just want to, you're like going out, locking out all distractions and just focusing.
I'm like, look, if someone came up to me and was like, like, how are you training? What are you doing? Or like,
just focus.
Yeah, or like, how are you going to get to this goal? How are you actually going to do it? And I'd probably just be like, look, I'm still finding that out myself. I've got a long way to go. I'm nowhere near where I'm going to end up, sort of thing. Like, I think to have the mindset of like, look, I know I'm going to get there. Like, just always having that in your mind, like, and I don't think it's arrogant and I don't think it's cocky or anything because I think it's almost like just self-talk and self-belief because he's just saying, look, I know I'm going to get there. I know I can do it. Anyone, yeah. And obviously when you tell that to someone, it will come across as cocky and arrogant, but that's fine.
No, I don't think it does. It's only,
some people will.
That's only, I think that only happens is because they themselves don't believe in themselves.
But exactly. But that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying it's from.
It's just from.
Yeah, it's from them. It's how
it brings up their own insecurity that they don't have.
Yeah. So it's taken in. It's how they're taking it on board, not how you're saying it. Unless you say it like, I am the best. I am the greatest. No one's better than me.
Well, no, you just simply say like, I have stuff to learn as well, technically.
Yeah.
But I had this talk with someone. I was talking about this with Tane, and he's like, pardon? No, when we edit it,
okay.
Like when we edit it, you can cut things out, so we'll listen over to it.
Yeah.
But I'm just going to mention Tane because I'm talking to you about it.
Yeah.
This just happened years ago, and I remember him talking about it. So literally, how I was talking to Tane, it was just like I was just sharing things I was learning about kind of healing from trauma and stuff like that. And then I was like, oh, cool. Like I was like telling him about like, oh, the stuff learning has helped me a lot. I can share it with other people. And then he's kind of like, it's like, oh, I feel like just because you're learning all this spiritual stuff, he's like, you feel like you're better than everybody else.
Really?
Pardon?
Who said that?
Yeah.
So,
And then, well, the reason I brought this up now, because it happened years ago, is like, it's still like, it's kind of like, what the fuck are you on about, you know?
yeah.
But then it's like, so what spiritual to define that is just simply your relationship with yourself. It's like, are you able to be with yourself and look after yourself technically, and just kind of set goals and know where you're going essentially. But anyway, your relationship with yourself. But then like from that, and it's like, but then because you hear about the winning thing, it's like thinking you're better than other people.
Yeah.
It's like you hear about so many top competitive athletes, and it's like you ask them about it. Eddie Hall is a good example. I would listen to him,
Yeah.
and someone asked him, is like, what contributes to winning? It's like, oh, I have a deep belief in myself that I'm better than everybody else, so that helps us winning. And then it's like, I like, no, when he asked me that, and it's like, because he's saying, it's like, I do think I am. But it's like, I'm not saying, I don't think I'm better than everybody else. I simply think I'm smarter than everybody else. But by that, I mean, I'm not like, smart like that. It's simply there's like, I actually was smarter by being able to do the work and technically figure out kind of what was going on and like how to deal with it in a way, if that makes sense, rather than not like in the way that people just kind of assume. It's simply like, oh, like I simply did it by the way, like, because that got me into the situation to figure out how to look at things.
Yeah.
It's like I actually, because that takes vulnerability as well to like face your own problems, and it's like that is what I see because like I was smart enough to actually do that. Where it's like you could just see someone who's continued to suffer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's actually smart because that's where it comes in, and like everyone thinks you got to do things that will get you to your goal rather than do things to fix yourself.
Yeah.
To then that
Because that is
yeah.
that's the underlying key to performance at the elite is
Yeah.
there's always it's the tiny little things that you don't realize you don't know are causing problems that are.
Yeah, and I reckon that's because I've experienced that, and I know that's massive because it's like, say, yeah, there's a time last rowing season, so 2023, into that year, it was sort of everything was going quite well. In October, November, I sort of hit this point in life, I guess, like everything just hit me, and I didn't know what to do, and I sort of started dribbling downhill, but my performance was sort of just it was sort of plateauing. It was just sort of flat mark, and so anyway, I started to go see someone, did work on myself. I think that took a lot of energy. It drained me.
Yeah.
I was grieving. A lot happened.
You put yourself in a really vulnerable state.
It was, and doing this very high intensity exercises and pretty much the peak of rowing. The first few regattas at the very start of the season went great. Like winning races, coming top three. Sort of, it was going really well. Like I was on track to doing well. Hits North Islands in early January, and basically I think it would have been at about late December, early Jan. I basically just I guess my body was just like, look, I can't take this. I can't do it. I lost. I ended up losing about 6 kgs in about the space of maybe a month. I basically my performance dropped downhill. I went from being quite up there and competing to looking good to literally dropping back to well behind people I had beaten. And basically came to North Islands, and I was just, I ended up having a rib fracture again that I did that season before, and then mentally I was not stable. I wasn't well. I was losing weight. My body couldn't handle anything, and I was just literally holding on. Came to nationals, and I was at my dropped to 65 kilos. I was mentally, I was on basically antidepressants at the time, and I was in such like a shit, horrible space, and there's a lot of things going on. And anyway, it was just the worst performance, worst race, and that was almost the season that I had to do well in. That I wanted to do well in to make certain teams and get selected for things, and obviously that didn't happen. I went away and basically I was like, look, I think now off season everything's done. I just need to work on myself. And for the next month, I just basically nailed down, hammered down, and worked on myself a lot. And I think I definitely just grew. I think I was just like, look, take a moment, take a break, work on yourself. I did that, and now I'm basically. I think I put on about what am I now 72. So I put on 7 kilos in
Yeah.
literally 2 months.
Mm.
I've got stronger. I've got fitter. Mentally I'm very stable. I'm very happy now. I'm a lot better than I was, and it's sort of like there are definitely times in that period where I was like, I'm sort of this is it, I'm done, like I can't keep going in life and stuff. And I think hitting those moments and then looking back at it now, it's like you're sort of like, you never thought you could ever make it through and you'd never be here. And I
Mm.
think I know a lot of like elite athletes deal with it, and even non-elite, and it's sort of like to look at it now, it's sort of like wow, like from where I've been to where I am now, it's sort of like it's such a massive growth, and I feel like I've changed so much as a person.
You're just proud of your journey.
Yeah, just real proud, and I'm just like I'm just really proud of myself and where I've come, and who I am now. It's I think for anyone out there who even people who have gone through it and then been like, no, I can't do this. Like I think definitely work on yourself, and I think once you do and you sort of figure it out, it's almost like it's not for everyone, but I mean, people who do, you can almost be like, oh, like sort of almost settle back into it. I think athletes, that's massive because it's a massive sport stopper, career stopper for them, and I don't think they really sort of look back and go like, oh, okay, I've done all this, I'm very proud, I've done all this progress, you know, I'm actually good at the sport, I've got good talent for it, I've got a drive, get back into it. But no, it's definitely like a mentality, mental health, and I never really thought anything of it, and then you go through it yourself, and it's sort of like I think you just appreciate it a lot more. And for people who haven't, I think to appreciate it, it's actually a really tough thing, and I think it gets pretty tough. So I think it's
breathtaking.
mm. I think just see someone. Honestly, a psychologist, a therapist is like they changed my life completely. Like I think without them, I probably wouldn't have ever sort of really been able to get through it. Definitely not on my own. No matter what I had done it, it's just I think they can dig up things that you can't, and they've been trained and everything. It's definitely like they know what they're doing. It's definitely you need your buttons pushed, and they can do that. And I don't think.
No, I agree with you. I think for me it was a little bit different.
Yeah.
Where it's like what me, I don't know. It's like people talk about genetics and like I don't know. It's like for me, I was like what caused depression for me is like that feeling of burnt outness. And it's like I heard a cool thing with like you only feel burnt out really when you have a lack of vision of where you're going. It's like every single time I've ever, and then when I had that, it's like every single time I've ever felt burnt out, it's like where I've lost track of my vision and what I actually want to achieve. And that was a really cool one.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, because I guess it is because it's like, what am I doing? Why am I doing this?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I thought of that, and that makes you think back to the times you were like feeling really down. It's like your mind's preoccupied, you're not focusing on your goal or your vision. It's like you haven't set proper goals properly.
Yeah. But I think it's good to go feel down. It's sort of like I'm happy because then it's like if you go through that again, or it's sort of like you come out a lot stronger, and you're sort of like
No, I think it's like it's not. Sorry, it's not good to feel down. It's just
no.
it's good to be aware of how you're feeling, and so you can improve in that and
Yeah.
help for the better.
Yeah. No, I mean
It's
different
just
for everyone. Oh,
yeah.
I mean, so not as in like it's good to go through. Like I'm not saying everyone should get depressed
No, but
and
it's
shit.
like sorry. Oh, this is what I think. Yeah. So it's like it's not. It's not. Don't celebrate that you're feeling down because you can grow from that.
Yeah.
Just learn to be aware of those, so you can celebrate the growth you get from that to helping you go forward further. So it's like if that ever does happen again, it's you have the tools to adapt from it and know how to go forward.
Yeah.
So then you will be feeling more content,
Yeah.
essentially in the moment, and to learn from that rather than being in that state of absolute poor me for years or months or days at a time.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it can obviously vary for everyone, but yeah. Yeah, no, yeah, definitely, I agree. It's you don't want to go through. It's pretty shit to go through, but then it's like I think having been through it, I mean, is like I couldn't control going through it or not, but having been through it,
Because I think no, I know I understand you, but I think it's just like that thing where people because I heard people say that thing. It's like I'm glad I had depression. It's like you're not actually glad you had depression. You're
yeah,
glad what you learned from feeling like that.
yeah,
But it's like,
yeah, yeah,
then it's like, then you can learn about how to deal with that and not have it anymore.
mm,
That's essentially for that.
yeah,
Or it's like, say you have an injury, it's like you're not glad you had that. You're glad about what you learned while you're doing that you missed beforehand, or you learned about something new about yourself.
yeah,
So you're just, but then there's like other ways to have self awareness rather than having injuries and stuff like that. It's like you can put yourself out there in other ways,
mm,
but it's like just a really key thing that kind of pops up. Yeah.
yeah. No, definitely, yeah, I completely agree. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, no, that's um, yeah, mm, mm. What
That's good. I was like stuff I wanted to talk about, but no, I kind of just feel tired.
what stuff?
Oh, I was asking you about your stage of like how you were feeling.
When?
Oh, I'm getting tired now. No, like let's do like where you're at with wanting to achieve a goal and like sharing and stuff.
Yeah,
Anyway, I was like, oh, I was just going to talk about.
like what part?
No, no, no. I was just going to talk. I just wanted to talk about kind of my own.
On your own?
Yeah, like what stage I'm at, that kind of stuff.
Well, what stage are you at?
But no, because it's interesting. Because it's like I find it interesting, like how you like as you kind of like you're at the stage of like it's like the focus stage kind of
Yeah.
where it's like you're just focusing on what you're doing to achieve your goals, and then it's like like you don't feel like you're at the sharing kind of stage yet.
Oh no. I
If you know
mean,
what I mean?
I think like you can share things
Like say
to
like
adults.
a little kid wanted to come up to you and like look up to you kind of.
No, I wouldn't. If
Yeah,
even if he thought that I was there, no, I'd be like,
yeah,
no, I'm.
yeah,
And I know a lot of guys would be the opposite,
yeah.
but I'm
No.
just like, dude, I know I'm not near
Mm.
where you want, and what I'm gonna give you now might
I still
completely
even think with
change.
that like you should give advice, but I know what you mean. It's like it's cool that you
Yeah.
think that you like kind of realizing that you're like, oh, I still need to do more work on like you essentially
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
before you like want to share it
Yeah,
with other
because
people.
I feel like sharing something just makes it sort of make it float in the
Yeah,
air to boom, it's rock solid
yeah,
now, and you can't sort of like
mm,
sit on it. I'm
yeah,
like, yeah, well, I'm floating, like I'm still
yeah.
definitely still learning
Mm.
and
Well, I think for me, it's interesting because like I feel like I'm at this stage now. Like since I started, you could say instinct, but it's just like
mm,
coaching.
mm,
I'm like at the stage of like I want to coach people, but
right,
it's
yeah,
like say like for me, I look at that as like say like you could see like you could say like I'm not coaching from like my perspective of like well like I have learned things like big wave surfing, but it's like I don't
yeah,
do that. Like you see people coaching for that. It's like they do it professionally kind of.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's like for me, I kind of do that for fun. Like I can share things from that as well,
Mm,
but it's like like so like, but what I share from essentially is like what I base the business around, which is the instinct is like helping you achieve your dreams, or essentially like your goals essentially.
yeah,
So it's like the perspective I share from is like I'm already have achieved that by essentially just me living my life is already achieving my dreams and my goals.
yeah,
So it's like I'm already sharing from that perspective of have already doing it
mm,
essentially. And it's like this is like say you want to help, I can help you achieve your goals or your dreams essentially as well. And that's kind of the perspective I'm sharing from.
okay, yeah,
And it's like so it's like you because that's kind of why and then it's like I share from my because one of my big things I share from is like how to be calm in stressful situations,
mm,
and I share that from perspective of some surfing but also from some of the background of how I grew up,
yeah,
which is like to do with like just abusive relationships and trauma and how to deal with that and kind of get out of them and kind of deal with them and realize what is actually going on in there.
Yeah.
And even just like mental health, but that's kind of where I share that from.
Yeah.
And then it's kind of like, yeah, like that's how I myself believe like I can help other people and share like everything I'm learning essentially. And it's like I still have my own goals and journeys, like I'm learning everything along the way as well, but it's like I can already help people, you know, and I feel such good, like it's my purpose to help and coach people. That's why I think with you, like if you don't feel like you want to share everything, but it's like I literally see you literally working to achieve your goal is like that's already better than like 95% of the world who are not even at that point yet in a way.
Oh no, yeah.
And it's like literally you can help someone start to achieve their goal or plan it like through like the personal training, but like you're already on the way, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Yeah. No, yeah, I do get what you mean. Like, well, especially from the PT view, because obviously I'm doing the course and
but
you've
yeah,
done it. And,
not the PT, but like the other stage, like the rowing.
yeah.
Like you're literally to put yourself out there to achieve. It's like you're already. It's like from that essentially you can. It's
Yeah.
like you're already. No, but like if you look at it like that way, it's like you must feel like, oh, like I haven't achieved my goal yet. But it's like you already have achieved a goal by putting yourself in starting to do it essentially, because that's such a big step is just even starting.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's true.
But that's yeah, but no, because then it's like you see people. This is like for anybody else who like wants to share what they're doing or what they're up to, or talk about other podcasts. No, like I'm referring to the podcast here.
Yeah.
But it's like for anybody else that wants to share what they're doing up to, it's like you don't have to see. It's like simply you. You don't have to be like a top elite level at things to share what you want to do. It's like simply just by having your own experiences or like being that you can share with other people already.
Oh yeah.
Or
No,
like
yeah.
stuff you're interested in, you know?
Definitely. No, I agree with that. I think specifically for the sport that I'm doing though, I feel like just in that area I want to, but in other areas I can definitely like I want to help people and get them started like you said, like what you want to do, and through PT you sort of have that knowledge and you apply from the stuff you have as well. So there'll be a lot more than you know than other PTs, and I guess it's sort of like who make the best are the ones that like.
I just feel like with the PT thing, I don't know. I like to look at it as like, I don't know. That for me, I reckon that like does come easily.
Yeah, I feel like that as well.
Absolutely easily. And it's like, yeah, like I love helping people.
Yeah,
it's just funny.
I love helping, and then but like explaining or sort of reasoning it, like being like, okay, someone's like, comes into the gym and then they're just like, look, so oh yeah, like I wanna get fit and stuff, and then you sort of, I think it would be really, I haven't done it yet, but interesting in that someone comes up, they're say maybe they might be a bit overweight or something and not fit, and then they're like, look, my background is this, and it's a sporting background, and they were quite successful in sport, and then they stopped. And I think talking about someone, be like, look, why did you stop doing this? And then listening to why they stopped and the reason, I reckon you can almost get them back on track to it. And like, you make them realize you're like, actually, and then they'll be like, oh, like, if I had known this, I wouldn't have quit, sort of thing. But yeah, I don't know. You wrote things twice. I've done that so many times. But yeah, no, it's yeah, just live your life. That's so cliche. Fuck no, don't live your life. I don't know.